We're now going to do another technique for factoring called factor by grouping. And these kind of problems, usually you have a polynomial with 4 terms. So for example, it might look something like this. I might give you the polynomial x cubed minus 3x squared, and then I might say 4x minus 12. Factor by grouping works like this. We're going to look at 2 pairs, and we're going to do a rewrite of this particular polynomial. We haven't factored it yet. We're going to do a rewrite. First thing we do is we look at x cubed, so I'll put that over here, x cubed minus 3x squared, and we look to see what's the greatest common factor for just those first 2 terms. And we see that they have an x squared. So we can pull an x squared out. X squared divides into x cubed x. X squared divides into negative 3x squared, negative 3. So right away in this one, we factor out an x squared, and dividing x squared by x cubed, we get x. Negative 3x squared by x squared, negative 3. Now it's not totally factored because we have a plus. Now we're looking at these next 2 terms, 4x minus 12, and we can see that the greatest common factor is a 4. And when we divide 4x by 4, we get an x. Negative 12 by 4, we get negative 3. All we have done, because of the plus inside, it's not factored, is we have done a rewrite. Now in this rewrite, we have x minus 3 is common to both, so we're going to factor that out. That is the greatest common factor. So the greatest common factor in the second line is just x minus 3. So I'm going to take x squared times x minus 3 plus 4 times x minus 3, and I am now going to, having pulled out the x minus 3, I'm now going to divide those terms by x minus 3 to see what goes in the remaining parentheses. So in doing that, I divide by x minus 3, x minus 3. The x minus 3 cancels, and I have an x squared because they cancel with a 1, and x minus 3 cancels here. 1 times 4 is 4 plus 4. So that becomes the factored form from the original. And that's what we mean factor by grouping. You pair out of the 4 terms, and you do each pair separately. And then that gives you your rewrite, and from there you can work it. We'll factor another one. So now here's another one, factor by grouping. We'll look at xy minus 5x plus 9y minus 45. First step is we're going to group this to do a rewrite in 2 pairs. We are doing a rewrite. And we're going to write after we factored from both of the pairs. For the first one, the greatest common factor is x. And when I divide xy by x, I'm just left with a y. 5x, negative 5x by x, a negative 5. And it's just a rewrite because I have this plus between it. Now I look between 9y and negative 45. What's common to both is 9. And so you can kind of look and see 9y divided by 9 is y. Negative 45 divided by 9 is negative 5. It is not factored. It's a rewrite because of this plus in between. Now I'm ready to do the factor by factoring out the greatest common factor. And what's common to both of these on either side of the plus is y minus 5. The way I think of it, dividing the y minus 5, it's like taking these y minus 5s and pulling them down, because that's what happens when they cancel. So this divides into this, gets rid of it, and I have an x. And this divides by this, gets rid of it, and I have plus 9. And though When I'm finished, there I have, that's my factored result. We'll do one last one, a little bit tricky. So for example, I might say factor by grouping. I'm going to do the problem. It's going to be 3x cubed minus 6xy minus 10y squared plus 5xy. First step to do the rewrite, we first have to group the first pair, but then the second pair starts with a negative 10y squared. We're now going to do a rewrite. I'm going